Welcome to the stream. Just going to wait a couple minutes for people to sign on. We are going to be talking about a pretty major problem affecting the David Pakman show right now. And I've sort of been silent about this really for the greater part. I mean, with a few very quick segments, other than a few quick segments on the show over the last couple of months, it's been pretty quiet. I haven't been talking about this too much, partially because I don't want to just, bum people out about what's going on. Partially because there's been so much news that's mostly what every single show is concerned with. Partially because I don't want to just fill up the show with negative stuff. But we're facing a pretty significant problem at the David Pakman show right now. And I'm going to lay it all out for you. So I'm going to just wait a second for people to kind of come into the live stream. Give me about 10 minutes to lay it all out. That's really all the time that I need. If this is your first live stream, just as a heads up, as people connect, this is really a live stream unless you're watching a replay. Right now, it's July 5th, 5:31 p.m. Eastern Time. That's when I'm doing the show live. If the show is live, you can use Super Chat, which is the dollar symbol at the bottom of the chat window, to send questions or comments, and I will answer them, or if it's a comment, I'll read it and comment on your comment. That's a feature that is available during the live stream. So please use Super Chat, the dollar sign at the bottom of the chat window. Number 3, new members and patrons. In other words, if you subscribe to David Pakman Show membership or become a patron, during the stream, I will give you a live shout out, thank you, and sing your praises during the stream. davidpakman.com/membership for the former membership, and patreon.com/David Pakman Show for the latter, the Patreon pledge page. Please don't troll. Lastly, obvious trolling and hate will get you banned. I'll ban you if I see it. Moderators have been fully deputized to ban people as they see fit. And by all means, use the chat to participate, okay? But just don't use it to troll, because nobody likes that. All right, so here's what's going on. I first talked about this, and I talked about this pretty extensively at the very beginning of April. And then I've been talking about it less and less because it was clear that we had sort of hit a saturation point with this issue. And I was basically hoping the David Pakman Show would be able to come through this. But our YouTube channel is only making about 15% of the revenue that it was in the first few months of the year, okay? And this is a pretty major deal. I wish I could understate the importance of this, but the reality is we estimate somewhere between 0.5% and 1% of our audience is a sort of financial contributor to the program, either through membership or Patreon. And as a result, we were pretty dependent on YouTube revenue. It wasn't the majority of our revenue. The majority of our revenue has always been direct support, but close to 50% of our revenue, some months it was 40, some months it was 45, was coming from YouTube. The Wall Street Journal put out this alarmist, hyperbolic article in late March with a screenshot of, I believe it was a Coca-Cola ad, in front of just an obviously racist video on some tiny channel with 800 subscribers, right? For comparison, we're closing in on 400,000 subscribers. So this is effectively an insignificant channel. And brands went crazy saying, oh my God, YouTube can't control when our ads are showing up. We've got to threaten to pull out so that YouTube will fix this. In turn, YouTube panicked, and on March 31st, they basically flipped the switch on a new ad algorithm, which was so strict that it made anything we were talking about gay marriage, we were talking about Trump, Russia, whatever, it was all flagged as too controversial for ads to run on it. And as you'll see in this image that I'm putting up, by the number 2, you will see that our revenue dropped to effectively nothing. Like, you'll see that the dips are just above 0, but it was effectively nothing. As I told you before, we lost about 99% of our revenue, okay? Compare it to the area by the number 1, which was sort of like the bulk of after the early January sort of vacation period, where we would expect revenue to sort of be down, the beginning of a new year, etc. We were having a very solid year. Record-setting, in fact, and down to effectively 0. I reached out to YouTube. I said, guys, we're getting crushed here. We've got staff. We've got a studio. This is part of our business model. It's not half of it, but it's close to half of it. Do you know that this is going on? And I would get form letters back from YouTube of no meaning whatsoever. And I pushed through, and eventually I got a hold of actual people at YouTube. They were shocked at what happened to our channel. I explained to them, this is what's going on. We're making effectively nothing. And they said, we're going to look into it. We're going to try to help you. The people that I know at YouTube came back to me and they said, David, we figured out what's going on. The YouTube algorithm has incorrectly identified your channel as a purveyor of not work-safe content. But you're right, David. You don't have profanity. Your program is FCC safe. You should be making money on YouTube. And they said, rest assured, it's going to fix itself. And true to their word, as you can see, after this area by the number 2, the numbers started to recover. They still weren't good numbers, but in late April, in early May, in late May, they got back to what I told you on the program a few times was roughly about a third of the revenue that we had been experiencing prior to this crisis, okay? And I said to myself, you know, a third is not great, but we can more easily make up 66% of our revenue than 99% of our revenue. So I thought, well, we're going in the right direction. And maybe by the end of summer, by early fall, if people really pitch in and become members and become patrons, we might be able to make up that lost revenue. Unfortunately, the last few days of June and the first few days of July have been a total and utter disaster. And at this point, the people I know at YouTube seem to have run out of answers. At this point, I believe that this is the new normal. And as you can see, a precipitous decline by the number 4. And there is every indication, I've talked to some of the other producers that are dealing with this in news and politics, this does appear to be the new normal. YouTube has stopped responding to me, unfortunately. There is no indication that this is going to improve. And we now are, unfortunately, in a very serious situation because we've got major plans. We've got plans for close to a dozen long-form videos that we're working on for you. Those require a lot of production time. We've got plans for a 12 to 15 part mini-series on critical thinking and logical fallacies that I believe, if we can get it done, is going to be one of the best things that the program ever does. We've got major plans when it comes to public events and appearances that are going to involve the audience if all goes well. We have all of these things planned. And unfortunately now, we have lost 85% of our YouTube revenue. YouTube revenue, of course, making up previously close to half of our total revenue. So we've got a couple options, right? Option 1 is what? We get rid of our staff, get rid of the studio. I basically go back to video blogging, which is basically what I'm doing right now becomes the show. This would have terrible impact. This would have a terrible impact. We distribute the show to 200 radio and television stations. They expect a certain level of quality. If we go to this, which is how I like to talk to you in a more personal setting, but this isn't the show, that's a problem. We keep staff and studio, but we shrink the amount of production that we're doing each week. Maybe instead of 5 shows a week, we do 3 shows a week. We go back to the old days or something like that. These aren't good options. And these are especially not good options given that we have an administration right now that would love to see diversity of voices reduced, that would love to see adversarial media go away, go the way of the dodo, for lack of a better term. So not only do I not want to do that because we've been building this thing for years, I don't want to do that because this is a key time. This is a key time for shows like ours. So what I'm doing instead is I am basically going to be focusing on the methods that have already been effective at providing half of our revenue and seeing if we can grow that maybe to 70% of our revenue, maybe to 80% of our revenue. And before I tell you what we're doing, I can't possibly overstate the importance of this enough. We estimate that between half of 1% and 1% of our audience currently contributes financially. So there doesn't need to be some major victory where half the audience is paying for the show. The whole point of the show is we want it to be available for free to people, right? That's the whole idea. We succeed, we crush adpocalypse, as it's being called, if we simply get to 2.5 to 3% of our audience supporting us financially. That's it. So if you say to me, David, you know, a lot of people have no money for independent media, that's great. Don't worry about it. If you can't contribute $1 a month, don't contribute $1 a month. Use that money for other stuff. My goal is the show will still be available to you. But if there's 15% of our audience that could afford $1 a month, and half of them or even a quarter of them decide to contribute $1 a month, the problem ends. And that is why it's so important not to be dissuaded from contributing at all if you can only contribute $1 or $2. So this, fortunately for us, major investigative pieces have been written about what's going on with our YouTube channel. Amanda Hess over at the New York Times did an awesome job investigating not only how YouTube has changed their advertising algorithm, but specifically how it has affected our show. You can read Amanda's article from a couple months ago at the New York Times. It's called How YouTube's Shifting Algorithms Hurt Independent Media. This is a major New York Times technology article about the David Pakman Show, okay? Check it out. We also had Davey Alba over at Wired write a great article called Want a Better Web? Here's an idea. Pay for it. We are going to get the forms of media that we support. And it is, again, an article about YouTube adpocalypse, but particularly focused on the David Pakman Show. Tremendous, absolutely tremendous article. Check it out to learn about what it is that is going on here. And there's really no clearer picture that can be painted than the picture that's on the screen right now, which is look at number 1, look at number 2, look at number 3, which looked like we were starting to go in the right direction, and then look at number 4, which is where we find ourselves today. Now, I'm not going to go quietly into the night, right? There is no way that that is something that I'm going to do. So it's really, really important that people understand that this is really this is not a complex nut to crack, right? We mostly depend on funding from our audience. We've got close to 400,000 YouTube subscribers right now. If 1% of you went to patreon.com/David Pakman Show and donated just $1 a month, 1%, right? Not 5%, not 2.5%. If just 1% of you, right, about 3,700 people went over to patreon.com/David Pakman Show and threw in $1 or $2 per month, the problem is over. The problem is over. Membership. If you go to davidpakman.com/membership and sign up for a membership, if just 0.5% of our YouTube audience were to do that right now, we solve this thing, okay? So a couple different things that you can do if you want to help. These are really, really simple, and it's just a matter of what this program is worth to you. And you know what? If it's not worth anything to you, don't contribute, right? It's super easy. If the program is worth nothing to you, don't contribute. If each YouTube video is worth a few pennies to you, you go to davidpakman.com/membership and you can sign up for $6 a month. You can sign up for $6 per year. And if the normal rates are too high, hey, I'm not looking to bankrupt anybody. If the normal rates are too high, on the second page of the sign-up process, there's a coupon code field. You can enter the coupon code IVoted17. All one word, all lowercase. You will save 40%, okay? That will make your membership $3.60 a month paid monthly, or $3 a month paid yearly. If you do that, you are talking about under 2 cents per YouTube video that we create. That's all we're talking about here. And if just 1 or 2% of you did that, I never have to mention the YouTube ad boycott again. Never, ever again. Patreon. If you don't want to deal with this whole, I don't want to create an account at davidpakman.com, I don't want to set up a membership. I don't care about the member benefits. Some people do, some people don't. We do some great stuff for members, but maybe you don't care about it. If you just go to patreon.com/David Pakman Show, you can contribute $1 a month. Now, if you genuinely can't afford $1 a month, my mission to you is to continue producing this show and making it available to you at no cost. That's always been the goal, and that continues to be my goal. But if you can afford $1 a month, and a lot of people can, that $1 a month covers the lost revenue from 2 or 3 viewers on YouTube. We calculated that at full YouTube revenue, if you watched every one of our 160 monthly YouTube videos, we would earn about 30 to 50 cents off of you. So if you just contribute $1, you're basically making up for 2 to 3 YouTube subscribers, okay? We're not talking about anything crazy. So please consider doing those things. Let me take a look at some of the super chats that are here. I'm glad to talk about politics as well. In the meantime, though, I promise you, I will send a thank you, and I will thank every single person who is contributing, okay? And I'm seeing in another window here that people are starting to make contributions. Thank you, and I will thank every one of you shortly, but let's jump into some of the super chats. Okay. We had, let me see here. I think I might have missed a super chat because a number of them came in. Let me see if I can pull up the master list here. I don't want to miss anybody's messages on super chat. Okay, where do we have that? Just give me a second here, folks, and I will get to it. HG has sent a $10 super chat saying nothing other than great show. I appreciate that. Thank you so much, HG. Leah Wiseman has sent a super chat saying, Guardian reports progressives are celebrating the Affordable Care Act delay, the American Health Care Act delay as a huge victory. Premature, I say. Is there a way to improve healthcare policy despite Republicans? There is, and I talked about that on the program today, and let me address that again a little bit later. Jacob Ball has sent a $5 super chat saying, first super chat of the day, keep up the good work, Dave. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. And we are going to do everything we can to continue the program unfettered. Jennifer Carrain has sent a $20 super chat. Other than Patreon and membership, how can we help? Can you run a contest or perhaps a raffle? So, Jennifer, by the way, we announced on the program today, has sponsored 4 free David Pakman Show memberships. The theme of those free memberships is progressive patriotism. There will be a standalone YouTube clip about that a little bit later today. Okay, so Jennifer, you're doing a lot, but great question. Listen, the most direct ways to help are Patreon and membership. If you're already a patron and a member, you can do what Jennifer did, which is to get in touch and say, hey, I would like to cover 50% of 10 memberships. Figure out a way to raffle them off or to give them away. Or I'd like to donate 5 memberships or something like that, which has a twofold impact. It brings in revenue for the show, and it also brings in new people that might not be able to afford a membership. And sometimes those folks, when they get a membership for free, become real evangelists for independent media and for the show. So those are a few ideas. You can also get your David Pakman Show stickers, apparel, and coffee, or as some people are calling it, David Pakman Show Cobb Fefi at davidpakman.com/gear. I actually tried to make Cobb Fefi from our espresso blend, which we have at davidpakman.com/gear. And it went okay. I mean, I think it needed a lot of more sugar than a normal coffee application, but it was okay. Kyle Waller has sent a $5 super chat saying, much love, David Pakman. Okay, well, that's, yeah, there you go. Thank you so much, Kyle. Very, very much appreciate it. And on that note, let me get to some thank yous, okay? I want to get, before I even do the thank yous, if we get to 2,000 Patreon patrons, I will do an entire broadcast show from our studio with my hair like this, okay? Say what they will at our affiliate stations, radio and television stations, which broadcast the show every day. If we get to 2,000 patrons, I will do an entire show with my hair like this. And on that note, we have a number of new patrons at patreon.com/David Pakman Show that I want to thank right now. Aurora Clausen has just pledged $5 a month. Robin Harley has increased their pledge from $2 to $5 a month. Nate Haynes has pledged $2 a month. Rebecca Wyron has pledged $2 a month. Josh Hulbert has pledged $2 a month. Barbara Ferguson has pledged $5 a month. Sarah Iddington has pledged $5 a month. Thank you to all of you. We have a strong start today on this live stream with the Patreon pledges. By all means, I am glad to read names all night. So keep the pledges coming. On the membership side, which of course you can sign up for at davidpakman.com/membership, if you want a 40% discount, and you don't have to accept that discount, but if you want that discount, you can use the coupon code IVoted17, okay? That will save you 40% off of membership. And I've got a number of new members to thank right now. Hector Velasco has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership, opting for a level 2 membership with no coupon code. Thank you very much. I appreciate that. Matt Cunningham has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Alex Panirko has signed up on our website. Michael Muldoon has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Matthew Cunningham has become a member. Stephanie Dick has signed up. Daniel Harvey is now a member. Damon Reith has become a member. Chris Gonzalez is now a member. Thank you. Thank you so much, because this is not a good time for the show. And what the last option, okay, what I would call the nuclear option, is reducing the amount of programming that we produce. That is the last thing that I want to do, and we will do everything we can. You have my promise to avoid that as an outcome, okay? Let's dip back into the super chats. A lot of people asking questions here. Christina asks with a $2 super chat, do you keep all of the super chat money or only a percentage? Listen, I don't actually know the answer to that. At one point, I read that we kept only half of Super Chat revenue, and then I looked at the numbers the day after a Super Chat, and it was clear that no, that's not the case. We keep way more than that. And then another day I looked at it, and it looked like we basically kept all of the Super Chat revenue. I don't know exactly how much YouTube takes at this point, but it seems to be a relatively modest amount. Matthew Gattel sent a $5 super chat saying, keep up the quality work. We need something to balance out the propaganda on faux news. That's my goal, Matthew. That's why we're here. Akine sent a 20 Danish kroner super chat saying, please fix the lack of treble on your non-live videos. Yeah, I think that you commented about the audio last time, Akine, and we looked into it and checked with our affiliates and checked with a bunch of people. Nobody else had any complaints about the lack of treble. It seemed to be sounding pretty good, and we weren't able to identify the issue, so I apologize about that. GR, the infamous GR. So this month we've got Jennifer Carrain, who has donated 4 memberships, and we will be giving them out through something that we're going to call the Progressive Patriotism Contest, and there will be more about that on our YouTube channel later. Last month, GR, the patriarch of the incoherent rants on Super Chat, donated 6 memberships, and we gave those out last month. So between last month and this month, we've had 2 existing members and contributors contribute 10 memberships for people who could otherwise not afford them, and that's a really, really great thing. GR chiming in today with a $2 super chat. The DZ be my free speak creed decree tree. Right. Thank you. I think that that's a compliment. I'm not totally sure, but I believe that that absolutely is a compliment. Okay. I want to tell you about the long-form investigative pieces that we have coming up on the show. If this is a feature of our program that you're not yet familiar with, let me point you to a couple of different things. Number one, if you go to our main YouTube channel, youtube.com/David The David Pakman Show. We have added a new playlist called Deeper Dives, okay? This is a compilation playlist of our longer form videos, which range from as short as 11 minutes all the way up to half-hour videos. These started with the infamous Reza Aslan Cannot Be Trusted video back in January of 2016, which was researched by former David Pakman Show intern, now producer, Noah Ferguson. Some of the other long-form, deeper dives that are available on our YouTube channel: The Truth About Political Correctness, The Truth About the Alt-Right, The Truth About Donald Trump, The Truth About Police Shooting Black Men, The Truth About the Regressive Left, The Truth About the Gender Pay Gap, The Truth About Dangerous Job-Stealing Immigrants. Anti-vaxxers have been around as long as vaccines. Have safe spaces replaced free spaces at universities? It goes on and on and on. These are different videos than the 3 to 8 minute topical things we do on the show, okay? We have a very long list of other long-form videos on our production agenda. And this is why the YouTube ad boycott really worries me, because it takes a lot of time to produce these videos. It usually is a couple weeks of research. Narration is done. It could take a week for video editing. It is an iterative process that is very staff time intensive, okay? Here's some of the ideas that we're working on for these long form videos. And I don't want to not be able to do these videos because of the YouTube adpocalypse. Classical liberalism is pretty fucking conservative, okay? That is the sort of idea, possible title for one of the long form videos that we're working on, and that will relate directly to this trend of people saying they are classical liberals now, okay? We're going to talk about that in detail. We are thinking, these are possibilities: race and IQ, okay? And this is going to include the recent controversy involving Sam Harris and Charles Murray on Sam Harris's podcast. This is going to really be a deep dive into race and IQ. We're thinking about doing a video on cultural Marxism. Not 100% yet, but we might, okay? We're gonna think about that. We're going to maybe, in relation to actually today's segment on the show about progressive patriotism, we're thinking about doing a video, a long-form video, about the concepts of patriotism, nationalism, and a better type of patriotism, okay? Socialism has never worked. Socialism has never worked as a popular refrain from many, and that is a topic ripe for a deep dive. The use of data analytics in both voter targeting and voter suppression. Many of these have been suggested by you. That is another possibility. Social conservatives have been on the wrong side of history for a very long time. Okay, that's another idea for a long-form video. And then we've got the others. Some people want me to look into Jill Stein in Russia. I'm open to that. Many people want to expand our conversations about universal basic income into a broader video and deep dive into post-workism, okay? There's a lot of ideas here. I want to do every single one of these. And something else that we have going on, which I think would be arguably one of the best things that the show will ever have done, okay, is we have a 90% completed 12 to 15 part mini series on critical thinking, okay? People write to me, David, a lot of school districts don't teach critical thinking anymore. People are showing up to college not even knowledgeable about basic critical thinking and epistemology. You should do a video or a series about critical thinking. I have written, in collaboration with former producer Rachel Gordon, a multi-part series on critical thinking, which we are now starting to look at with producers Pat and Noah into how we can finish that last 10% and then figure out how to turn this into a 12 to 15 part mini series on critical thinking. We need that right now. I can't think of a time, actually, where we needed it more. It's very time intensive. It is very time intensive, and I look forward to completing that for you sooner than later. And these are all the types of projects that I don't want to see affected by this, which is the precipitous decline in our YouTube ad revenue over the last few months, and particularly acutely over the last 10 to 15 days, to what appears to be the new normal. So a lot of you with peace and love are trying to mitigate this problem. Some of you via Patreon at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. You can make a contribution of as much as you want, but you can make a contribution for as little as $1 per month. And many of you have done exactly that. Joe Allen has just pledged $2 per month via Patreon. If you can't afford to, do one. Most of you can afford $1 a month. And if you can't, I'm not asking you for the donation. I'm producing the show for you. And that's why it's so important we keep the show going. Andrew Angelastro has just pledged $2 a month at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Thank you. Thank you so much. I really appreciate that. And then on the membership side, and members get, sometimes there's confusion. Like, what David, what do you do? Membership? What on earth are you talking about? Membership has been around since 2010. It's the #1 funding source for the program, and we actually have currently a 40% discount code, which is available to you. I'll tell you about that in a second, and I've got some major thank yous to give. Cliff Throckmorton has just signed up at davidpakman.com/membership, as has Gary Atkins and Chris Lininger. Thanks to the three of you for signing up. Some of them have used the coupon code IVoted17. And the way to use that, I see some comments in the chat, some confusion about how to use that code. You're seeing page 1 of the sign-up process, which is davidpakman.com/membership. Once you select your membership, either monthly or yearly, and click the red sign-up button, you'll be taken to page 2 of the sign-up process. And that's where you can enter the coupon code, which is IVoted17, all one word, all lowercase. And this is a very simple and straightforward process. And you do get, as a member, the daily bonus show. We do an extra show. Many people don't know this, so I've heard, that we do an entire extra show every day just for our paid subscribers. And we talk about different types of stories. Sometimes they are, I mean, they're just different stories than would be on the regular show. And it's absolutely tremendous. And there's lots of other great member benefits as well. So please keep those coming, and I will absolutely keep the thank yous going, okay? Let's jump back into the super chats here. Stan Ustelbos has sent a €10 super chat with no question or comment. Thank you very much. Hobbitten has sent a £5 super chat. Can I use super chat to get you to say nonsense like wacky waving inflatable arm flailing tube man, or is that unwanted trolling? Well, I think my answer speaks for itself. Tina Howard has sent a $2 super chat. Tina, thank you very much. Jacob Ball has sent a $20 super chat. Would you ever consider doing a deep dive into campaign finance? I'd like to see a history of how we got to where we are now, and a general breakdown of what percentage of the time congressmen vote in ways that benefit their donors. Very, very good topic. And I'm going to bookmark it and add it to our list, because that would be a very, very good topic. Klaus M54 has sent a €2 super chat. Europe cares about progressive voices in the U.S. Thank you, Klaus. I really appreciate that. Tina Howard has sent a $5 super chat. No question or comment. Thank you very much. GameFire74 has sent a $5.97 super chat. Why do you not talk about identity politics? Why do people say that isn't useful? You mentioned that to a caller last week. Well, I do talk about identity politics, and we've talked, in fact, I think more than a lot of other programs about identity politics. And I am not someone who believes that the recent paradigm of sort of intersectionality and identity politics as a primary sort of platform point has been good for the progressive movement. In fact, I think it's been the opposite. I think it's important to distinguish between the type of identity politics that recognizes that there are individuals whose identity is disproportionately a factor in subjugation or discrimination, right? By saying I don't think identity politics is necessarily useful, I'm not saying there is not discrimination in this country based on identity. I think it's really important to point that out. But the point is that the way in which identity politics has been carried out in great part by the left over the last, few years has not been useful to the progressive movement nor to the Democratic Party. So it's a nuanced issue. And it probably is actually one that maybe warrants a deeper dive as well. So I'm going to make a note about that. Identity politics, and then we had the campaign finance idea as well. All good ideas, very, very important ideas. Next super chat is from Mario Zunik. I'm not exactly sure how it's pronounced. A €2 super chat, and I very, very much appreciate that. Andres Sanchez has asked with a $2 super chat, what benefits you more, signing up for membership or Patreon? It's pretty similar. I mean, the amount that is taken by the payment processor is now almost identical on both. So it's really a matter of where would you contribute more? If you're looking at contributing $5 a month, it's basically the same, whether you do it via Patreon or membership for us, okay? Bala5984 has sent a €2 super chat. Will Aubrey de Grey come back? He's interesting. Listen, let me make a note of it. Aubrey de Grey interview. We've had Aubrey de Grey is one of the lead researchers into solving the problem of aging. And that's his language, not mine. That's how he sees it and what he talks about. And he has been a guest on the program a number of times, and I would love to have him back on. It's been a while since he's been on, and I think that would be that's a really great idea. Thank you for suggesting it, and I will reach out to him. We will try to get him back on. I think he's actually, and it's funny when we have Aubrey de Grey on, and this guy's he's quite well known. He's been featured everywhere from 60 Minutes to I don't even know where else. I mean, just all over the map. He's been featured and interviewed. I get people who believe Aubrey de Grey is an incredible genius, and they find the interview endlessly riveting. And then there are others who say this guy's living in a fantasy world. Nothing he's working on will ever lead to any actual increases in life expectancy or something like that. And it's you can't please everybody. But I find Aubrey de Grey very, very interesting, endlessly interesting. Okay, I'm seeing some people in the chat say that something was up with my audio for some period of time, saying that I was completely inaudible for a full minute. Can people confirm that? I mean, that seems like a major technical issue if I was inaudible for an entire minute during the stream. Anybody in the chat want to confirm or deny that I was not audible for a minute? Because everything is properly connected. I believe we're experiencing correct modulation, and I'm seeing the audio bar move up as I talk. So it would be a shock to me, let me put it that way, if I was totally inaudible for an entire minute. Audio is perfect. One commenter says, there was an issue with the stream, but it fixed itself. No, for a bit, you dropped for 5 seconds, you froze, couple of seconds, audio's good, video was frozen, it stopped and buffered for 5 seconds, I could hear you no problem. Okay, all right, well, it seems like it might have been an isolated issue. Tina Howard has sent a $2 super chat. Thank you. Kevin Wilson has sent a £2 British super chat. How is Lewis doing? Okay, Lewis, of course, former David Pakman Show producer. He has been gone nearly a year at this point. I guess just over 10 months. Former producer Lewis has been gone. He is doing fine. He still has not moved to the South. He has moved out of Boston. He is working at a brewery, and he is not, what's the way to say it? He is not committed to any particular path forward in life, I guess is what I'm trying to say. And I saw him over the weekend. We went to lunch on when was it? We went to lunch on Monday, on July 3rd. We are both going to be at the same wedding in a couple of weeks. And then we're going to be in the same wedding down in Arizona in a couple of months. So yeah, Lewis seems to be doing okay. Catalot sent a $5 super chat. Thank you, David, from Lori Bishop. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it. Light Arrow has sent a €5 super chat. Cush Perry has sent a $10 super chat saying, have a good day, David. Well, thank you. And the day, it is improving thanks to many of you activating, because, I mean, the reason for this live stream was to tell you about the disaster that we are currently experiencing on YouTube. Because of the YouTube advertiser boycott, our YouTube ad revenue is down 85%. 85%, which is crippling. I mean, there's really no other way to say it. And as you see, the number one, sort of an estimate of YouTube ad revenue at the beginning of the year. Number two was the 99% decline that took place during April. It looked like things were starting to recover. That's number three. And number four is where we have been for the last 10 or so days. And it is bad, bad, bad. And I told you about that in detail at the beginning of this stream. A number of articles written about this issue, a great article in Wired about what's going on with the David Pakman Show YouTube channel, a great article in the New York Times about what's going on with the YouTube channel. And as I mentioned earlier, if and when we get to 2,000 patrons at patreon.com/David Pakman Show, I have committed to doing an entire broadcast show for our 200 radio and television stations with my hair like this, okay? And along those lines, pledges of as little as $1 a month are welcome at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. We have new pledges from Peter Slattery, who just in the last 10 minutes has pledged $2 per month, and Andres Sanchez, who has pledged $2 per month just a few minutes ago. Thanks to both of you. I really do appreciate it, and I will keep the thank yous going. On the membership side, and of course, members at davidpakman.com/membership get instant access to a members-only, commercial-free audio or video stream of the show. If you prefer to listen, we've got that. If you prefer to watch, we've got that for you. As well as instant access to the world-famous bonus show, a daily extra show produced solely for our paid subscribers. We've got a number of new members, including Bill Harker, Emily Carr, and Mario Carcatero, all of whom have signed up just now at davidpakman.com/membership. And I could not be more grateful. And of course, the various ways to support us: membership at davidpakman.com/membership, Patreon at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. And if you ever shop on Amazon, everything you buy can send us a little kickback if you go to davidpakman.com/Amazon before you shop. I'm going to get back to the super chat in a second. Real quick, though, people have been asking me, what would I like to see be the ultimate result of the YouTube ad boycott? My dream would be that member and patron support grows so drastically to prevent this from becoming a crisis for us that in 6 months, we laugh about this and say, hey, you know what? We recovered all the revenue and we don't even need YouTube. That would really be, that's the sort of dream, right? That would be the ideal scenario. And every single Patreon contribution and new member gets us one step closer to that. Okay, let's see here. Herbert Holmes has sent a $20 super chat saying, ignorance is intrinsic. How large of a role do you think the stigma of ignorance in our society plays in shaping behavior, as well as the role the ego plays? Well, so I actually talked about this a little bit on the program today, and I hope, Herbert, that I'm sort of approaching this from the angle that you were hoping for. There is some stigma to ignorance. And at the same time, you also have anti-intellectualism. and we've seen anti-intellectualism grow. But there's an equally or even more dangerous phenomenon that's taking place right now, which is pseudo-intellectualism. And I say more dangerous because you've got some people who say, hey, college is liberal indoctrination. It's nonsense. Deep knowledge through reading academic textbooks is a waste of time. That's anti-intellectualism. And some people say, I reject that. It's good to know things. The problem is that the right has this, it's like a cottage industry of pseudo-intellectualism. And this leads to people who read Mark Levin's books and think that they're informed deeply about issues. People who read Laura Ingram's books, as I talked about today on the broadcast program, and believe that they are informed. And when I say pseudo-intellectualism, these are individuals who believe that they have knowledge about things without realizing that those whom they are, quote, learning from are basically just partisan hacks, right? And that is as or more dangerous than both anti-intellectualism and the stigma of ignorance, which can sometimes get people to get engaged and learn about things, simple and complicated things, as our president would say, but at the same time can get people to separate completely from anything that we would consider sort of like academic learning. So I believe that, yes, ignorance in society shapes behavior. It shapes elections. It shapes humans, the perspective of humanity on whether an issue is an important issue to solve or not. The climate science debate is a great example. Ignorance there has real impact. And we are going to be talking about that in quite a bit of detail. And in fact, and I'm making a note of this, pseudo-intellectualism could be a great topic for a deep dive, a long-form video, so I'll make a note of that. GameFire74 has sent a $6.71 super chat asking, being in Boston, how do you feel about Tom Brady and Donald Trump being friends? I think I recall you and Pat mentioned being Patriots fans. Yeah, listen, first of all, I don't know what the politics are of Tom Brady. I know that he had this Make America Great Again hat in his Patriots locker room, and Giselle, the wife of Tom Brady, the Patriots quarterback, said, the idea that we're both big Trump supporters politically is nonsense. Of course, maybe Tom Brady is a supporter and Giselle is not. Who knows? I don't know. I don't really care about Trump being friends with Tom Brady. Trump at one point was friends with Howard Stern, who I think is one of the top radio broadcasters and interviewers in the history of radio. I don't really care about that per se. What I don't like, though, is when you see Trump sort of claim support from people he's friends with, even if they have not actually expressed it. And we saw that done with a bunch of people during the campaign. And that, I think, is pretty damn low. Boxy Brown has sent a $2 super chat saying, do a video on how Jimmy Dore is absolute cancer. Honestly, I don't know a thing about it. I don't know what he is doing on his show. Every once in a while I get an email from someone who either loves Jimmy Dore and hates me because I'm not like Jimmy Dore, or hates Jimmy Dore and praises me because I'm not like Jimmy Dore, but I couldn't tell you what it is that Jimmy Dore is doing. Mario Sunic, okay, I know I'm badgering it, has sent a €5 super chat. Could do a comparison of the US versus the EU generally. Political system, economy, education, healthcare. Looking outside the box might help the US see itself. I like that idea. I will make a note of that. Octopus Translation Module has sent a $5 super chat. Love your show. Been watching since I was in 8th grade. Any chance you'll bring Noam Chomsky on? I'd love to have Noam Chomsky on. He has previously not responded to our requests for an interview. Matt Fern has sent a £2 super chat. Thank you very much. GR, the king of incoherent rants, has sent a $2 super chat. My girlfriend Holly says you're handsome. Love GR. Well, thank you, and I hope GR that that you don't that you don't hold that against me. Jeez. Courtney Haynes has sent a $5 super chat. Proud $5 patron. Love the idea of a critical thinking series. This may sound corny, but encouraging critical thinking is a cause that is close to my heart. Michael Furster has sent a 5 Swiss franc, I believe CHF is Swiss franc, super chat. Don't give up, David. You were watched from Switzerland too, because we care about the U.S. Thank you. I love Switzerland. I have been to Lugano and Zurich. And where else have I been in Switzerland? I guess that's it. Totally different. Love them both. Insanely expensive. Stepped out of my hotel and saw a place advertising a $32, a 28 Swiss franc, which at the time was roughly $32 cheeseburger. And I said to my girlfriend, we must happen to be across from like the gourmet top of the top cheeseburger joint in Zurich. And she said, no, it's what things cost here. Beautiful country. Absolutely amazing. Kyle Waller sent a $5 super chat. Did you hear about the VidCon incident with Sargon of Akkad and Anita Sarkeesian? You know, I heard that Sargon, Carl Benjamin, went to a panel at VidCon, and Anita Sarkeesian was on the panel, and she spotted him and started, I guess, like criticizing him either directly or indirectly, or calling him a harasser of women or something like that. I don't have too many thoughts about it, but if it is as Sargon described it, it sounds bonkers. I mean, it sounds quite unhinged. I think that's sort of the only way I can put it. Okay, we have been talking about the implosion of YouTube ad revenue for the David Pakman Show due to what is called the adpocalypse. You will see that we have gone from 0.1 earlier this year in YouTube partner ad revenue to 0.4, a roughly 85% loss in ad revenue. A number of major articles have been written about this. Amanda Hess wrote an article about what's going on with our YouTube channel in the New York Times. Davey Alba wrote an article about what's going on with our YouTube channel in Wired, and I could not thank them enough for it. And as a result, we are talking about making up the lost revenue through membership and Patreon. And I don't want to have to change what or how much content we are producing. In fact, you know, it's the sick irony, not irony, I don't even know what to call it. The sad nature of this is that we've got a list of like a dozen long form videos and a 12 to 15 part critical thinking mini series that we want to do for you guys this year. And we now need to spend time trying to just make up lost revenue. And we're doing that a few different ways: membership, Patreon, and Amazon, okay? Let me do live thank yous, because every single person who contributes deserves a thank you for doing really, really great things. David Hoffman has just pledged $2 a month. $2 a month makes a big difference. It might not sound like a lot, but it makes a big difference. Even $1 a month makes a big difference. Cyber Lee has just pledged $5 a month at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Gary Atkins has just pledged $2 a month at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. Vladimir Alexandrov has just pledged $5 a month at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. And Frui Snorason, I think I butchered that, has pledged $2 per month at patreon.com/David Pakman Show. However, Patreon is not the only way to support the show. You can get the commercial-free all-access pass, as well as the bonus show as a member at davidpakman.com/membership. If you want to save 40% off of your membership, you can use the coupon code IVoted17, all one word, all lowercase, which, by the way, is going to be retired. The coupon code is going to be retired soon. So if you want to take advantage of it, I advise you to do that sooner than later. And on that note, Christina Dittmar has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Resha Dimena has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. And James Holcomb has signed up at davidpakman.com/membership. Thanks to each and every one of you. This is not a good situation, but hopefully, with your help, we will be able to weather it. And every single contribution is huge. And I appreciate everybody who's contributed so far. GR has sent a $5 super chat. No, DZ. Hard feelings are for sorry men. Flip-flops are for sorry men. Like hard feelings. You were handsome. I have no more rants. Son, not today. All right. And there is no better note on which to wrap up this live stream than that. I will thank everybody who continues to sign up at Patreon and for membership after the stream ends. Believe me, folks, everybody will get the thank yous. I will live stream again soon.